All right, let's dive into a skill that is, no joke, one of the most important for any project professional, requirements elicitation. Today, we're going to break it down using the BABOK guide. Think of it as our official map. The goal here is simple, to make this whole process crystal clear and maybe turn you into a bit of a requirements detective. Oh man, we've all been there, right? You're in that big kickoff meeting, the energy is good, and then someone looks at the main stakeholder and asks this exact question. It seems like the most logical thing to ask, but more often than not, it's met with a really awkward silence. And there it is. That's the one. That incredibly vague, kind of frustrating answer that can send a project off the rails before it's even left the station. And you know what? That moment, that gap between the question and a clear answer, that is the exact problem that requirements elicitation was born to solve. So how do we fix this? How do we get past just make it work? Well, we bring in the hero of our story, elicitation. This isn't just about asking a list of questions. It's about uncovering the real needs, the stuff that's often hidden just below the surface. It's all about bringing clarity to the chaos. Okay, so here's the official definition from the BABOK guide. I know it sounds a little academic, a little textbooky, but the key phrase here, the real magic, is in those two words, drawing out. You're not a waiter taking an order. You are actively pulling out the insights, the needs, and the problems that stakeholders might not even know how to put into words themselves. This right here is the best way to think about it. You're a detective. Seriously, your job is to gather clues from all these different sources, to validate what you're hearing, and then piece it all together to uncover the true story of what the business actually needs to win. And every good detective needs a toolkit, right? You can't just show up to the crime scene empty-handed. Luckily, BABOK gives us 5 absolutely essential techniques to help you crack any case. Let's open up the toolkit and see what we've got. So here they are, your 5 core tools. You've got interviews for those deep one-on-one conversations. You've got workshops to get everyone in a room and on the same page. You can analyze documents, build quick prototypes, even send out surveys. Now, each one is useful on its own, for sure, but the real magic, it happens when you start combining them. That's when you build an unstoppable toolkit. All right, theory's great, but let's see how these tools actually work in the real world. We're going to run through a quick mini case study to see how a real requirements detective puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. So, let's imagine our mission is to build a new mobile app for delivery drivers. The high-level goal is pretty simple. We need to improve delivery tracking. But what does improve really mean? What's the actual problem we're trying to solve for these drivers? Let's find out. Now check this out. This is where it gets really cool. Each technique gives us a unique clue. In an interview, we learn the core problem. Drivers just forget to update the status. In a workshop, the team brainstorms a potential solution. Hey, what about push notifications? Document analysis shows us the current process is totally manual, clunky spreadsheets. A quick prototype of a map screen gets an immediate gut reaction. And finally, a survey lets the drivers themselves tell us what's most important to them. See how we're building a case? And after we combine all those clues, we arrive here. This is the aha moment. We've uncovered the real need. It wasn't just build a tracking app. It was give drivers a one-tap solution to a very specific problem. That is the incredible power of good detective work. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. Now let's talk about the playbook, the rules of the road. Following these simple guidelines will help you avoid some really common traps and make sure your investigations are always on point. Let's break these down because they are so important. Asking yes or no questions, that's a dead end. Instead, you've got to ask open-ended questions like, hey, can you walk me through your process? This next one's a big one. Don't assume stakeholders already know the solution. They have the problem. Your job is to help them discover the solution with you. And please, talk to more than one group of people. A driver's needs are totally different from a manager's. And finally, the golden rule. Always validate what you heard. A simple, okay, so what I'm hearing is, can save you weeks of rework down the line. You know, the great thing is, BABOK boils all of this down into a really nice, repeatable 3-step cycle. First, you prepare. You know your goals before you walk in the room. Second, you conduct. You actually run your interview or your workshop. And third, you confirm. You check your findings with everyone to make sure you got it right. It's not a one-time thing. It's a loop you can run over and over to get closer to the truth. We've covered a lot of ground, but let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture.
Why is it so critical to get good at this stuff? Well, to put it simply, it's what takes a project from chaos to clarity.
It really is that simple. I mean, it's the fundamental truth of project work. The quality of your foundation, the requirements, is going to directly determine the quality of whatever it is you build. There's just no way around it. And the payoff for doing this well is just massive. You immediately improve the quality of your requirements. You slash project risk by catching misunderstandings early when they're cheap to fix. You get everybody aligned and rowing in the same direction. And honestly, it just leads to much smoother projects with way fewer of those late-night surprises. So as we wrap up, I'll leave you with this one thought to take with you. In your very next stakeholder meeting, what's the one question you're going to ask differently to start your own detective work? Thanks so much for tuning in, and good luck with your investigations.